So Anthony Smith lost his fight to Roman Dolidze at UFC 303, and recently he's been getting absolutely cooked by other fighters. Michael Bisping was giving him almost like a hard dose of the truth that he isn't good enough to be championship level on their recent episode of the Believe You Me podcast. And also, TJ Dillashaw went off on Anthony Smith as well and said some things that I really believe in, to be honest with you. Now, it sounds rich coming from TJ when you hear some of the things that he said because, of course, he took EPO, and by the looks of Smith's physique, there's no way he's touched a performance-enhancing drug in his life. Just going to use the old Rogan John Jones excuse there. Either way, I'm going to play you what TJ said, and then I'm going to go through some of these moments where Smith is making excuses and Bisping is trying to hit him with the truth, and I'm going to give my opinion in certain moments as well. But basically, Anthony Smith is getting cooked by his own friends and own peers in the sport. Let's listen to what TJ says, first of all.
TJ, the most asked question on our Jackson podcast, do we think Anthony Smith has what it takes to be a light heavyweight world champion?
Never.
No. Whoa. TJ.
That's, you know what, yeah? TJ is a real one. Even though he cheated, this is the problem with MMA fighters in general. Everyone else in the room just went, whoa. You don't think Smith you don't think he beats Pereira right now? You don't think he's world championship level? No, he obviously isn't. But they will never say it how it is. So you get these guys feeding into Smith's delusion, like, on your night, you could still be a world champion, and then you get Smith sticking around years too long, and then he has a really, really horrible ending to his career, full of CTE.
TJ, the most asked question on our Jackson podcast, do we think Anthony Smith has what it takes to be a light heavyweight world champion?
Never.
No. Whoa. TJ,
come on.
You're two-time world champion. You did it in the UFC. Let other people have a little shine. You don't got to kill his dreams like that.
Dude, I just don't. He's not good enough.
Tough to say.
Bro.
He's not good enough. And that's really it. He's not good enough. If you're getting outstruck by Roman Dolidze, you're not good enough at striking to be an elite level world-class UFC fighter. Fact. If you can't out-grapple, if your grappling is then what you resort to, and you can't get takedowns ever in your fights, you're just not cut out to be a top-level UFC fighter. Maybe when Jones was on top, you can go to a decision with him because, that was an easier time at light heavyweight. But right now, dude, these guys are going to eat you alive at light heavyweight. There's no chance for Smith to become champ.
He gives up. Have you
Lionheart?
I've watched the game as
Lionheart.
No, his name is Lion.
And that's their only defense. Anthony Smith does give up. And their only defense is, what? He nicknamed himself Lionheart, for God's sakes. What are you saying he gave up? It almost feels like Rampage is being sarcastic, by the way.
Lionheart?
I've watched the
Lionheart?
I've watched the game as
Roman.
He gives up.
Lionheart?
I've watched the game as
Lionheart.
No, his name is Lionheart.
That's a
Lionheart. What is the nickname?
Would he give himself that?
It means to be with a lion.
Did he give himself that name or what?
Oh my God, TJ.
he gives up in there, bro.
TJ, wow.
Okay, the second round, he doesn't even try to fucking stand up.
It's true. It's the Anthony Smith position. If you showed me a silhouette of Anthony Smith, not of Anthony Smith, of a guy 2-on-1 wrist control on his knees while the other opponent's got backside control. First of all, I think you've got a silhouette of John Jones's bedroom at night. But second of all, once I saw the 2-on-1 wrist control, I would say, oh, this is Smith in most fights all the time. Whenever he ends up on bottom, he just accepts that position so long as he doesn't get finished. It's almost like he starts reprogramming himself to not fight to win, but to fight to survive, so he can have that moral victory of making it to the distance without getting finished.
Roman's on his back. He doesn't even try to stand up.
He took the fight on a week's notice.
I'm fighting
Roman took it on a few days.
until I die, dog. I'm fighting with one arm. I'm doing whatever I possibly can.
Killshot, you a different breed. Hey, Killshot, you a different breed. That's why you on the podcast. That's why.
And that's true of TJ Dillashaw. Even though he took EPO, he was literally trying to pop his shoulder back into place as Aljamain Sterling is raining down punches. EPO doesn't do that. That's mentality stuff. You know what I'm saying? But Anthony Smith Everything TJ Dillashaw just said is true. I want to play this extra run as well because it's posted just underneath.
Personal offense to this because Anthony.
This is Harry Hardwick. This is Harry Hardwick. You look like Anthony Smith, someone said to him. And he's responded. This is just another easy bit of trash on Anthony Smith here. But we start seeing that fighters are starting to be real with Smith. And Bisping and Smith went back and forth a few times in this that I'm going to go through today as well. Let me just play this, though, because it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful verbal abuse. This is the Cage Warriors featherweight champion on a win streak, Harry Hardwick.
Are you on crack? I take personal offense to this because Anthony Smith is probably the shittest fighter in the world right now. He has the least appropriate nickname. He gets called Lionheart despite every fight he goes into a fetal position on the floor and just sort of cowers. He gives up but like lets the fight keep happening and people give him praise for it. He's fucking terrible. Don't you agree, Paul?
He's absolutely shite.
Yeah, George did not want to be a part of this one. George is like, fuck, I'm coming off a loss right now. Yeah. He did not want to be a part of this video either way.
And he's a fucking idiot for not just taking the DQ win and running away with his money. Fucking moron. And all of his takes as an analyst are shit as well. Fuck Anthony Smith, prick.
Now, some may say that this is someone, speaking in extreme examples. Yeah, some people may suggest that. But it's true. He gets called Lionheart, and it's like everyone that talks about him, you hear all of these guys, the ESPN crew, basically, of UFC fighters. They're like, oh no, he's Lionheart. He doesn't quit. It's like, I honestly believe that the only reason Anthony Smith is still fighting is because he knows if he stops fighting, they're not going to have him on the analyst desk for ESPN, and all of these other opportunities where he's going to be the expert in analysis for MMA are going to go out the window because he kind of needs his career. And I think Dominic Cruz is doing the same thing in all honesty, but Smith is a more extreme example because at least Dominic Cruz is like the consensus bantamweight GOAT of the UFC. So Smith is just Anthony Smith as far as I'm concerned. But there's more. Aside from that roasting, Smith had some things to say about his loss as well here.
Been very high on Dolidze for a long time. It's just it's a stylistic nightmare for me.
I'm just going to say this because I'm now going to pile on Anthony Smith as well. If Roman Dolidze is a stylistic nightmare for you, upper weight class on a few days' notice, you aren't. Listen, I'm not a UFC fighter. I completely get it, yeah, but I'm just speaking objectively based on what I know from watching the sport for long enough. If you are... Dude, Roman Dolidze, he's just my nightmare style matchup. But Pereira and Krylov and Ankalaev, light work. I'm still top level. But that Dolidze guy, sometimes someone's just got your number. If Roman Dolidze's the guy who's got your number, it's a real problem, and you're not elite level.
A shorter, stocky grappler with good striking. Like those guys have always kind of been my kryptonite. Where
good striking, Roman Dolidze. This is a real, and this is something where it goes to show that sometimes a completely detached opinion is so required in MMA, and maybe that's why my channel succeeds in the way it does. Because I have a completely detached opinion. If you are considering Roman Dolidze a good striker, and that's why he gave you problems on the feet, Roman Dolidze is lost on the feet against pretty much every other opponent ever. But Smith, who still thinks he can make it to the top.
Those double threat guys. So
double threat guys, okay? Roman Dolidze.
Shorter, stocky grappler with good striking. Like those guys have always kind of been my kryptonite. Where those double threat guys. So
double threat. Roman Dolidze, that double threat. Just when you thought you were safe on the feet. No. No. You ain't safe anywhere. If you're not safe on the feet against Dolidze, you're not gonna be a world champion at light heavyweight. I think someone really needs to just say this to Smith, to be honest with you. I wish I could say it with the sheer disrespect and aggressiveness and slander that Harry Hardwick did. Maybe I will by the end of this video, because I'm going to hear a lot more excuses from Smith throughout this. But I'm just trying to be real with him. Roman Dolidze is not a double threat. Okay? Sorry. Roman Dolidze is basically a free win for any middleweight that doesn't shoot a double leg on him. That's essentially what Roman Dolidze represents. He is not a double threat of a fighter. Sorry.
Yeah, it sucked. I just, I felt good in there too. Like, of course, there was a little bit of the leg kick problem, but I thought I dealt with that better than I've dealt with it in the past. I definitely checked. I checked way more than I took.
He didn't. And this is another problem. He just simply didn't. This is Ian Gary against MVP. He fucking rocked him with a left hand and saw his eyes roll back in the back of his fucking head in round 2. It just never happened. Like, fair enough, maybe he checked more than he did against Walker. And maybe he checked more than he did against Rakic, who literally destroyed his leg entirely in about 3 low kicks. And Kalaev as well. Maybe he checked more than he did against those guys. But if that's the improvement, you still got your leg chewed up by Dolidze. Roman Dolidze was chewing up your leg at range. And this is the delusion. It's like, I still checked loads of that. I checked more than I took. No, you didn't. You just didn't. You took all of them pretty much. You checked some, but you pretty much took all of the low kicks from Dolidze.
Which is new for me. I don't know, it was short notice and I just didn't feel super comfortable the whole time in there. But in terms of the fight, like, I felt like my vision was there. I didn't take any real big shots. A little bit in the second when he kind of swarmed me, when our feet got tangled up and I went down and fell. But I felt like especially with a high level grappler like him, I thought I did a good job staying safe and working my way back to my feet. It took longer than I would have liked, but with a guy at his level of grappling, it's going to take longer than you want it to.
If you're elite, not if you're good enough to become a world champ. And this is something Jones will never have to say in his career. And you can blame PEDs for that all you want. It's just true. Jones will never have to say that. You got to watch out trying to get back up against Roman Dolidze. No elite level fighter will ever say that. Don't take down Dolidze and you literally have a free win on your hands. That's how it's been with Dolidze throughout his entire career pretty much. He didn't even try and get back up in round 2. 2-on-1, hunched over, tucked up in a ball on the ground, in the fetal position, and his opponent just punching him in the head. And he's not progressing. But because he's got wrist control on one of the arms, they can't generate enough power to finish him. So, wow, he's so Lionheart, dude. The way he sits there and takes a beating in a way that can't quite be a finishable moment of a fight. Insane. Insane stuff from Anthony Smith, you guys. It's just, no one is just saying to him real stuff that he needs to hear. Bisping tries to in this, but wow.
Yeah, it was, I don't know. I was just a little bit off. Like, not even off. I mean, he did a great job. I thought it was, I haven't rewatched it. It felt like it was close, but I haven't watched it back. So maybe that's not what it looked like.
Yeah. I was just off. No, you don't throw head. Listen, I'm just going to say it how it is, man. There are exceptions to this rule. But if you are an MMA fighter and you've been around for long enough, and I've never gone, oh my God, what a combination, when you're a striker, you're not elite level. If I've never seen a grappling exchange offensively from you when you're like, oh my God, he's ragdolling them, you're not elite level. I've never had those moments against Smith. Anthony Smith, in my honest opinion, I'm going to say this right now. I hate to pile on him because obviously he's in such a bad mood. But I need content. So I don't care. And my morals go out the window when it comes to ad revenue and views. Anthony Smith, what was I just about to say? He never enforces anything. Anthony Smith literally gets given wins. That's all I'm going to say throughout his career. If you look through Smith's career, and there are obviously going to be one or two pretty solid wins from him, Vitor Petrino handed him a victory by guillotine. Devin Clark handed him a victory by triangle choke. Ryan Spann threw away a victory in the rematch they had. Smith actually did quite well in the first fight and rocked him on the feet. Fair play, that was a good one. The second fight, Spann literally threw away the victory and decided not to win in round 3 for whatever reason that was. There's more as well. There's so many more examples. Jimmy Crute, we've got the perennial nerve situation, and then he's walking around in the corner and they call off the fight because he stumbles on his ankle. There's always been some kind of planet aligning in order for Anthony Smith to be given a victory in the UFC. You know, we're talking about a guy who rose to the top of the light heavyweight division when he did for his miraculous win over Shogun. And then I think he got by Ozdemir at one point. So maybe there was a time when he was good. Gustafsson completely gave up as soon as Smith got a takedown on him in their fight. And it just seems like there's been like, I've never seen Smith force his will on an opponent. You know what I mean? Just completely dominate them, lead the dance, and steer them towards his victory. It always feels like his opponent just crashes their own vehicle, and then Smith completes the race and gets a gold medal for it. You know what I mean? It does feel like that. We move on, though. There's more to this. 6:05. And Bisping starts lecturing him and saying stuff like, well, Roman Dolidze had a week's notice. That's what people are going to say. So Bisping was pushing back.
And it took longer, and it was harder to get up than I expected it was going to be, which is silly because he's such a good grappler. Of course, he's going to make it tough. And he did a good job of just wearing on me when we were on the fence. Like, he wasn't super focused on attacking a submission or really getting any good ground and pound. He was just being heavy and just making me work really hard to get back to my feet.
And I say this again, Anthony Smith was not working hard to get back to his feet in round 2. He just wasn't. And all of the reasons he's just given as to why he couldn't get back up speak to why he's not going to be a world champion. And that's why he's saying he's going to stick around, because I know someday I'll prove that I'm the level that I say I am. And that's basically the game we're playing with Smith. And his family are sitting around watching him do this. And all of his friends are like encouraging him. And now they're starting to give a little bit of pushback. But that's the reason Smith is continuing, right? If it's not just to keep his ESPN job and his Believe You Me job, it's basically to, you know, essentially have a chance at being the world champ once in his life. And I get that. I get why he would want that. It must be a real great feeling. But no one in there ever, no elite level fighter ever in their life at light heavyweight is going to say that the problem and the reason why they lost to Roman Dolidze is because he just was so heavy on top. A middleweight moving up on like a few days' notice. Didn't even bulk up to light heavyweight size. Just a non-weight cutted middleweight pretty much. He was just so heavy. He was just being so heavy on top of me. That's not going to be a problem for elite level fighters. That's the difference. That's what we're talking about here. And then you see other things that he said there as well. He's an elite level grappler. Roman Dolidze is, if you shoot a takedown on him. I don't think I've ever seen Roman Dolidze complete a good, solid takedown that has led to anything impactful on the ground happening for him on top position. Maybe when he fought like John Allen Arte or some shit, or I feel like everyone else has just ended up in his guard and been like tangled up in some weird way. It's a sign, Smith. Just stop, man.
And I could have just sat there and conserved that energy, but that's not me, and that's not what people want to see. I gotta try to get back to my feet. But
that's exactly what he did. And Bisping is watching this. Maybe I should have put my face here the whole time. Now, Bisping is watching this. And he knows that that's what he watched Anthony Smith do. Turtle up in round 2. Get 2-on-1 wrist control so he can't be finished by like some vicious ground and pound. And stall out the round until the end, pretty much. That's what Anthony Smith did. And he's just said there, that's just not who I am. It's what he did against Ankalaev. It's what he did against Glover. It's what he did against Rakic. How many times, even against Walker in their fight, he was huddled on the ground, not getting back up, tucked up, making sure he can't get finished. It's what he did against John Jones. I mean, that's just off the top of my head. I've given you like 5 or 6 examples. Even against Ryan Spann in round 2, he just laid there on the ground after being hurt on the feet. He got hurt on the feet, I get it, but still. The audacity to say that's just not who I am, when that's literally who Smith is insane to me.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like career trajectory wise, I don't know, that might have put the nail in the coffin on getting a title, you know?
It's really sad. It is kind of sad, and I do feel bad for Smith. Because I know he's a real human with real emotions, and, you know, I should view him as a real human with real emotions and not just a set of pixels on my screen I have no empathy towards. You know, I get that. But, God, he's delusional. You know, I'm sorry. It is a tough video to make in it because he is obviously in a sour mood. But it's just, I want to get, like, I love taking a deep dive on some of these fighters' psyche, like their mental game, like where they at, how they think about the sport that they're in, how they think about their wins and losses. And to me, it's just so obvious. It's so obvious, the difference. I could listen to interviews of fighters and pick out who's currently this level and who's not, and who's washed up and who's not. It's insane.
The reward is worth the sacrifice, right? And
he's talking about putting in like effort, leaving his family, his wife and kids to go and train.
I don't know that I feel like that so much anymore. Like, I don't know that it's worth, if the money's great, but I got plenty of it. And I got a lot of other things I can do, you know, to make money. Yeah. And like the time away from my family is getting hard. And
so like, and don't be offended when I say this. This is just something, when I hear people say that about the time away from the family, like I see fighters are like, oh, and I missed a birthday and this and that. I feel like saying, shut the f*** up. Okay, so what, you missed a birthday. Do you know why you missed a birthday? It's because you're off trying to provide a great lifestyle. You're trying to build something. You're trying to build potentially generational wealth. You're trying to provide for your family first and foremost. And so what if you miss a birthday? They're not even going to remember.
And this is why Bisping got the belt. You know? This is why. It's not like, oh, I'm just not feeling it anymore because I'm being taken away from my family. Like, that is a sacrifice Bisping was signed up for. Bisping had kids to start his career pretty much, right? He had kids very young. They were pretty much adults while he was still competing in the UFC or just like shortly afterwards. Like, he had kids very young in his career. So this is something Bisping signed up for, like, before his career even got going. Like, on the grassroots level, Bisping was willing to make the sacrifice for regional level MMA fights. That's how committed he was to it. And this is the different mentalities that we're seeing here between the two of them. There's more.
Again, that's not necessarily directed at you. It's when I see
it was directed. He went on a big tangent there for a second, trashing fighters that do this and that, and it was directed at Smith pretty much. But he's trying to keep the peace, you know?
When I see a lot of people say that these days.
Well, I see the same thing, which I've done and never complained about for the last almost 18 years.
Smith just said he's done and never complained about missing birthday parties, missing out on family moments. He just did complain about it. And this is the issue that we're running into here. There's a real problem with just understanding the reality of what's going on. And that is what's the problem with Anthony Smith. There is no reality in his head. There is none. There's nothing up here that is telling him the realness of the situation. And this is why we need Bispings and Dillashaws to maybe not say it as violently as they are, or as violent as Harry Hardwick said it, but still say it in a way that's going to encourage Smith to wrap it up, man. He's had a lot of losses. We don't need to see this old man get taught the lesson for the 5th time in the past 3 years that he's not even top 10 level. It really is frustrating to watch as an MMA fan sometimes. We move on even more. There's so much more.
I still want to fight. I just don't know how many are left. And if that means I have some fun ones and just do it because I love doing it with no pressure on myself and just fight my ass off and go, I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm still trying to digest it.
I'm not trying to ambush you here, Anthony, and please don't make it seem, hope it doesn't feel like that. But you said there, take some fun ones. And when we text, you said, I've got to get back to having fun. I hate that.
Having some, like it's the two contrasting opinions of Anthony Smith. When he's coming off a win against someone not like barely ranked that handed it to him, it's, I'm committed, I'm going to become a world champion. But when he loses, I was just taking a couple fun ones, you know? I was just taking a fun one, you know, just stepping in, short notice. So it's almost like his enthusiasm and attitude towards a fight in the first place just so happens to directly correlate with the result of the fight. And you can call that coping if you want, because you would be right to do so. I was trying to think of a smart way around that, but you would be right to call it. It is fucking coping. It's ultimate cope beyond the regular amount that you should have in a day. This is Joe Pyfer levels, but more.
There's not fun ones. It shouldn't be fun.
They're all just do it because I love doing it with no pressure on myself and just fight my
What just happened there?
ass off and
here we go.
I don't know.
And when we text, you said, I've got to get back to fun.
They're all fun.
It's not about having fun. It's not a fun experience when you're on the floor and Roman Dolidze is pounding your face in.
Yeah, no.
Not a fun experience when you're going home and you're depressed and all the rest of it. It's not fun when you go home and you're black and blue and you could have surgeries in your neck or you're losing an eye. It's not a fun game. It's a very, very serious game. It's the most serious game on the planet. You know what I'm saying? It's not about having fun. Yes. It's
true. It's true. Bisping's really being he's keeping it real with him here. This is based Bisping. Normally Bisping's a bit of a, you know, company man, keep everything good, path of least resistance type of take that he has on things. But this is the take of a man who actually cares for Anthony Smith's well-being, as far as I'm concerned.
There until Wednesday night. Like, because I it is impossible.
Oh, this is him talking about he tries to get to the event as late as he possibly can and as close to the fight as he possibly can.
Like, I didn't get there until Wednesday night. Like, because I don't want to be there. It's not that I don't want to be there for the fight. It's I hate the bullshit around it. I hate the media and the cameras and
it's so weird to hear this. And again, this is the cope that it comes down to. When he loses, all of a sudden he hates all of the... You are a man who volunteers your time to be on the Believe You Me podcast. Fair play, you probably get paid for it as well, but still, you are putting yourself in the media spotlight. This is like Tony Bellew. I don't know if anyone else is from the UK. Tony Bellew saying, "You'll never see me again, Cougs." If anyone remembers that. Tony Bellew, UK British boxer, said he wanted to get away from the spotlight. He said, "You'll never see this face again, Cougs." And he'd literally been on like a bare bones survival show, I'm a Celebrity. And people were quoting him saying, "You'll never see this face on TV again." And he's in the jungle fucking battling for his worms for dinner. You know what I mean? But Anthony Smith is a guy who's saying like he hates the media, hates this. Conveniently, that's just all these things that we've just now heard about Anthony Smith and the way he feels about it because he just lost. When other than that, he's on the analyst desk. If you hate the cameras and hate the TV work side of things, you're doing it. And I think Anthony Smith is fighting so he can do that, in all honesty. Because I don't see them keeping him around if he wasn't an active participant in the UFC. And in all honesty, I think the UFC feels bad about the Jones knee. And they're so thankful for him not ruining Jones's entire legacy from it, that now this is them sort of giving back a little bit.
It all just feels so fake to me. And it used to be so real and like this is what it is. And now it's like I just don't want to do it. Like I want to show up Friday morning, weigh in, go to sleep, wake up Saturday and fight. Like I just want to do that part of it. But that's not how this game works.
But you don't get that part.
No.
Unless you do the grind. Nobody wants to do the grind. Nobody wants to.
I used to, though. I used to.
I know. And therein lies the problem, though, Anthony. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm not trying to turn this into a whole.
So Anthony Smith has given the problem in his own mind. Then he's made it so that Bisping is like, well, there's the problem. And then Smith's like, I guess you're right. That is why I'm not world champ. This is such cope. It fucking infuriates me sometimes to see people with this mentality. The smoke and mirrors, the obstacle course that a fighter will go through mentally to say anything but, I can't fucking deal with low kicks. I have no boxing, barely any power in my hands, barely any power in my kicks whatsoever. I have no offensive takedowns. I can only get submissions when people dive into them against me. This is the most long way round I've heard of saying that ever. I guess it's just because I, don't enjoy the media anymore, Yeah, that is the problem. Yeah, I guess that's the problem. This is why, it would be great. I'm sorry. I'm going so hard on Smith. 15-30. Maybe I shouldn't go this hard on him, but it's fun.
Kid, then that's an issue.
Yeah, in parts is what you said is right. Like, it's so like minute part of the, like, it's so specific. Like, I don't mind, like, there's always going to be days you don't feel like going. That's just part of it.
Of course.
It's not the training that I mind. It, like, I think this is going to sound crazy. For whatever reason, I've become so introverted that I don't really want to talk to anybody.
So it's because he's an introvert. That's the problem, guys. This is why the people are retarded. This is the problem with democracy. Like, Smith can vote, like, this is. I can only imagine the mental exhaustion his wife, if she is a conscious-brained human that is objectively looking at his career, and this is what she has to listen to, I would lose my fucking mind, I think. It is just such a long and torturous journey to not accepting that you're just not technically good enough. You're not going to land a head kick KO. You're not. You're just not going to ever do that as a striker. You're not going to pop 1-2, move out the way, fade away, sleep a guy with a counter as he rushes in. You've never done it and you'll never be able to. You've never ragdolled an opponent. Ragdolled him, just chucked him around all over the place. They didn't stand a chance. You've never athletically scrambled out of a takedown. And these things will never happen. Stop deluding yourself into brain damage for eternity. Because he starts talking about, 2 to 3 years left, maybe. Like, no, call it quits, man. This is a humiliation ritual.
Like, and it's making me a bad teammate. Like, not that I'm mean or that I beat the shit out of people or whatever. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I don't know what happened in the last couple years, but I've just, like, this is going to sound like the most bougie shit in the world, but I have a gym here in the house, in the basement. I've never been the type of person that wants to work out at home. And then I got the sauna, and now I got the cold plunge, and then the pool. I'm just doing everything so that I don't have to leave.
You know what is crazy to me? If he had beaten Roman Dolidze, and this is the craziest part to me, not even if he had beaten Roman Dolidze. Let me just say that. If he had triangled beaten him, but not like dominantly. Let's say he triangled Dolidze in that third round at some point. Dolidze put himself in a triangle, Paul Craig, Ankalaev style, gets submitted. We would hear none of this. Do you know that? We'd hear absolutely none of this. It'd be all about how he matches up with Pereira, what he's going to work on, how he's been feeling better in the gym recently, and that's why he can take these short notice fights. I was listening to Uriah Hall on the Jackson podcast recently, and he was waffling bullshit about why he was never champion. Like, he just felt like I could never pull the trigger sometimes. And it's just, it's such a lame thing to listen to sometimes, especially when we've had to listen to Smith talk about how he's Pereira level and he's elite level and he could be world champ on any given night. And it's just, interesting to hear.
Not going to get this. You're just going to keep repeating these cycles. Yeah, you might win a couple here and there, but as you say, if you want to be a champion,
Yeah, I
you ain't gonna get that.
I don't want to flounder.
Grinding.
Yeah, I don't want to flounder. I don't want to flounder, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to do the next 2 years of win one, lose one, win two, lose one. I don't want to do that. Like,
yeah, but
that's I don't know what this guy think he is. This isn't Usman after his title reign saying, I don't want to be the guy that's just, becoming a 2-1, contender where he wins one, loses two, wins two. I don't want to be that guy. If Usman was saying that, I'd be like, I get it. You don't want to beat that guy. I get it. You don't want to be that guy. Anthony Smith, you are that guy. That is all you have been. I'm sorry. Outside of the epic streak against Shogun Rua and Volkan Ozdemir that got him a title shot. Other than that epic streak that he went on, and who could forget his epic finish of Hector Lombard, that fucking literally overgrown flyweight. But still, and no one is telling Smith reality. No one is telling him the truth around him. Or he's just retardedly doing his pre-programmed scripted lines ahead of whatever they're going to say anyway, and this is just the Smith that we're going to hear from for the rest of his career. It's so insane to me listening to this. I don't want to be that guy. Who are you? Sorry, you're not a dominant champ. You are this guy. I'm not trying to be the guy who just wins one, loses one for the next 2 years. That's not me. I guess the last 3 years haven't existed then, Smith, because that is literally all you've been doing.
Sometimes you got to do that. I did that for a period of about 3 years.
Yeah, but I want it to have an end. Like, I don't want to feel like this is where I'm just going to live, because if that's what it is till the end, I don't want to do it.
I used to train Michelle Strickland.
And that's what it is. Smith expects this run to the title, and he's talking like someone who's seen it all, done it all, beaten every type. And now he's just at the end of his epic legacy run that he had as a champion. And there's delusion all over the place. That's why I wanted to make a video on today. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. It's just, the delusion is insane on some fighters. And it's a real problem in MMA. It really is. No one's telling these guys reality. All these people, and this is what I'll say, that this is the last thing I'm going to say in this video. And this is why I feel like I have a right to start calling out the mentality of these people. These fighters like Anthony Smith, after all you've heard in today's video, he pays money to a sports psychologist. I bet you he does. And this is still the result of his mindset towards the game. It's insane. See you later. Fighters will literally say anything ever to admit that they're not good. To not have to admit that they're not good enough. See you later. Goodbye.